This is 2018, the third year of our effort in rice cultivation. And this is one of our rice fields, a 100-hectare rice field in Ezilo, where we've been cultivating Faro 44, the variety of rice that the Honorable Minister of Agriculture of the Federal Republic has actually named the Nigerian rice. It does well in upland, and this is upland in every description of it. I'm not an expert, but my experience over the last 2 years, this being the third, has led me to one understanding. Faro 44 is indeed capable of being described as a Nigerian rice. But what is of greatest importance to me is to make the point that all the efforts we've made over the 3 years that we've been embarked on rice cultivation, these are 3 years that had the hallmark, the stamp of the Governor of Ebonyi State, His Excellency, Engineer David Nweze Umahi. Because he demonstrated something I've always understood about leadership. To contrast that, there's every difference between instructions, teaching, and leadership. In instructions, the instructor gives a series of orders or signals which must be obeyed, which he has an end result in mind. In command, like what obtains in the military, which is different from what obtains in classrooms, is that command is given, and at the end of the command, discipline takes over. And the result that is expected will naturally occur. If it doesn't occur, it's not because command is not obeyed in most cases. My great interest in leadership has been demonstrated in so many different ways by the Governor of Ebonyi State. Motivation. Pointing the way. Because when you motivate and when you point the way, you do not necessarily have a set results in mind. All you're doing is that you identify the potentials in people, you identify the capabilities of individuals, and you want to exploit, you want to arouse those potentials and capabilities by your motivational force, by your capacity to point to a direction. This is what has happened here. I'm so passionate about this because, but for the motivation of the Governor of Ebonyi State, I would not have farmed any grain of rice this year. He kept at it. He motivated me. He motivated myself and a group of young men working with me. Because he insisted that to do this for a year or two and abandon it is the very definition of failure. But to keep at it, even if you're not hitting your target, keep at it, because ultimately you will. And this is it. Without equivocation, without any sense of doubt, this is the best result we've achieved in the 3 years we've been doing this. The performance of the rice here is so extraordinary. I could actually say exceptional. And in fact, indeed, it is exceptional because it has no comparison, either in its neighborhood or elsewhere. The effort, the discipline, the investment, the risk, all of that would appear now to simply peter away. I recall in giving excuses to the governor, who in fact does not like excuses, I told him that the profit margin is not enough to lead me into this. He says, no, that's not how a businessman reasons, because if we're doing this, we must do it as a business. Ebonyi State must truly be on the map as a place where rice cultivation is done as a business. And in every business, you don't expect to make profit every single time. Sometimes your profit is high, sometimes it is low. Sometimes you can even make loss. But what defines the businessman is, because you understand your craft, you understand your trade, you realize that while it is true that it's what you put in that you get out, sometimes what you put in takes more time to come out at the other end.